Well, my friends, here's a little Jay's quick tip. As you see, a lot of especially the new fall projects, I'm going to do a lot of fringe, a lot of the boho style, what I call the boho style. You know, I'm not real boho, but it's really pretty and cute, and I'm just sure it's comfortable to wear. So I'm going to show you today how I make perfect fringe. Perfect fringe. What do you think of that? Well, the first thing I do, these old CD cases, I have a whole bunch of them because I used to use them in my arts and crafts. Used to put paint in the little thing here. So I'd buy empty cases at the junk stores and things like that. Well, one day I realized it makes great fringe. And I'm going to show you how I make just beautiful, perfect fringe by taking, let me put my yarn down on the floor, by taking one of these CD cases. You can see this one, I've used this one for a long time. And I just wrap my yarn around it. And, you know, depending on the project, I wrap a lot. Let me just check and make sure I'm on. Yep. In fact, I can back just a little bit. And I'll make fringe like when I'm just kind of bored, or if I'm watching something and I'm thinking, oh, you know, hey, I need some fringe on a project. And, you know, I'll know what project and what yarn I'm going to use and all that. So before I use up all the yarn, I'll go ahead and make a little fringe. And all I'm doing is just wrapping the yarn around the CD case. This is a little longer, but if you wanted it a little shorter, you can turn the CD case this direction. So I thought I'd show you how I make beautiful, and I call it perfect. Nothing is perfect. I gotta have something for the title. Gotta have perfect, beautiful, perfect fringe. So you just go on, and then if I had some pink over here, you could go ahead and wrap the pink around it too. You know, if you had, let's see what I have over here I can just have fun with. I'm just making fringe. Oh, here's some, that's not a pretty pink. Oh, I wish I had a pretty pink over here. Well, like I said, I wasn't planning on this. I just thought it at the last minute. What a great thing or fun it would be. Okay, let's just do it anyway. So I do so much. Going around and around, see? And then when I think I've enough for a while, for a little bit, I'll just snip it off at the bottom. Now, the fun part, to make it nice and easy to, my fringe to look really nice and smooth and perfect. Down here at the bottom, I will take my rotary cutter, just any rotary cutter. This is a real old one. They don't even make this one no more. So that's why I use it, because it's just old and dull. It's perfect for cutting just yarn. So I take my rotary cutter, see, and I just kind of hold it, and I go across, and I just go back and forth like this. I think I've used this one so much I've cut through the plastic. And I be sure to close your rotary cutter. I take it off. Now I can lay this aside, and now I have some pretty fringe, or well, the yarn to make the fringe. Let's see if I'm on. Oh, perfect. Okie dokie. So now I'm going to make a little bit, move back a little bit, and the beads, and let's add some to the bottom edge of this piece. So you're going to need a nice crochet hook. I like the pointy ones if I can, because they can go into the fabric better. So if you got a pointed crochet hook, to me, that's just me now. Then you decide how many strands you want. I usually get, well, it can be like 6, something like that. Let's see how many we have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good and even. I have 6 strands of yarn, just like that. Then, but when you double it, when you wrap it across your finger, when you lay it across your finger like that, then it doubles, so 6 becomes 12 strands. See that? I think my hands are in the way. Can you see that? When you lay it across your finger, it doubles. Now you have to decide where you're going to put it. Well, in the project I just finished, the boho raglan shawl, I made a little groove down here at the very bottom in between those two ridges. If you go right in here and stick your crochet hook, now you can just put your fringe just like this. Put it off your finger onto the hook. Now bring it through the, make sure your little legs, I call them little legs, or your yarn is pointing upward. Just so you'll be surprised how many people haven't done fringe. And then you take, you see the loop on the crochet hook, you reach up and grab the little legs and bring them through the loop, just like that. And you're going to trim some of this once you get it all done. You'll trim a little bit like that. All right, let's do a couple more. I didn't cut all this fringe. This is Jay's quick tip: how to make perfect fringe. I do it this way every time. Like I say, use that CD, and because I have a bunch of them. I used to use them, like I say, in my art stuff. All right, there is, like I said 6, but you can use any number. Line them up at the top the best you can. That's the part that's good. Line them up like that. Then you straighten them down, then fold them in half. Try to find the halfway, like that. Now, I was sharing with you how I, find something that you can use as a little spacer. I found, well, here's a ruler at the end of the ruler here. Instead of measuring and all that and doing some kind of math, just find something, anything small. So I'm going to stick the ruler right in the center of that one, and then I'm going to lay it down and then bring the crochet hook up right where that ends. So now I can move the ruler. I can do this, put the loop over the hook, bring the hook through an opening, stop. Now reach up and bring that through. Try to grab all the little legs and bring it through. And then sometimes you have to go back and kind of tighten it up, or if you didn't get them all at one time. When it's real thick and you have a loop, we would always, when we used to do craft shows, we just stick our fingers through the big loop, because we work with we make big projects. Because we have fabric fringe. You know how you cut strips of fabric and make fringe for something. I can't remember all the stuff we used to do. We used to do so many things. I learned so much when I was doing craft shows. Back in the day, when craft shows in our area was king, everybody just was doing craft shows. And we made really good money. Like I said, I told you before, I bought commercial property. Oh, of course I had to hang on to it for years and years, but when it sold, whew, thank you, Lord. When it sold, it sold. All right, so here we go again. I get the little ruler or whatever I'm going to use. I put it in the center of that one there, and then wherever it comes out over here, I just stick my crochet hook in that little trench that I made. Well, this, I don't know how good a video this is going to be, Jay. It's fun, people, it's fun. We need some fun. Reach up and grab the loop, bring it through, take your time so that you don't lose any loops, bring it up. Now reach up and grab the legs and bring them through, and slowly pull. And if you have to adjust any of the little things, you can go back and do that too. Now, I don't know how good that was, but it was just an afterthought. I sat here and I thought, you know what? I'm going to show how I make my really pretty fringe using a CD case, because I had lots of them. Like saying, if you wanted this fringe more on the shorter side, just turn the case this direction and wrap the yarn like this. This one's kind of, I call it the long. It's not super long, but it's long enough. And look how nicely, evenly spaced they are. You can use anything. You don't have to use that. I could have used the end of this thing right here, the little where I was cutting. I could have said, okay, I mean that and that. See, that would have been, just be consistent and make yourself pretty fringe. Now, the thing that makes pretty fringe, you need to take to the ironing board or whatever, or your steamer, and steam it so that you don't have bad hair fringe. Well, sometimes you kind of can have a curly fringe, but most of the time on the projects I'm making, I want to have pretty hair fringe. And then you can always trim it. You can trim it with the same rotary cutter and your mat if you want to pull it all out. I didn't feel like pulling it out, but if you want to pull your little mat out and then your rotary cutter and lay your ruler, you can do that. Anything to make it, easy and quick and beautiful. So what do you think of this as just one of Jay's quick tips? How to make perfect fringe for your projects. I thought it was a good idea to share. What do you think? Okay, see you on the next project coming up. Bye-bye.